Very quick question. I'm going to take the first one, midcom. I know you talked about that, and it's something that we're going to have to talk about in the business section extensively to make sure that we get a place on that board. Although the discussions have said that we do have to have options, but since we set that up, it has to be properly executed. So we will talk about that in the next session. As to the fund, I think it's a fantastic idea. How do we go about doing that is we have to be able to reach out to every diasporan, make them aware. We have to have a blueprint of what we're doing. So there's a lot of work to be done to actually set that up. Because anybody that's putting in money has to know what she's doing with that money, who is managing that money, and where it's going to be put into, what it's going to be invested in. So for us, there has to be a plan to set that up and a plan to execute it. So that's a lot of work that you're going to have to do, Dr. Ubani. So there it is. My next question is for disruptive technology. Yes, the social media is worldwide, and our kids have access to it. And there's bullying going on in social media. People have committed suicide and stuff through social media. So it is technology, but it also has its destructive sides that we as parents have to have some parental control over to make sure our children use it sensibly and are not exposed to sites that would create suicides and stuff like that. So that's my observation. Thank you very much, everybody.
Well, I don't think so. That's for the authorities to
Yes, please. You don't have to be a Nigerian.
This is
just to motivate the teenagers. Yes.
So let me respond as it relates to just disruptive technology and digital assets, please, right? So when you were reading my profile, you asked what red team, blue team, purple team means, okay? So in cybersecurity, we have people that try to break into your system. Those are the red teams, called offensive security. The ones that defend are called blue teams. And then, of course, the purple team is a combination. So what a lot of us do in our companies is we try to break into your system. You pay us, it's called pen testing, and then you get a fee. So, Madam, although there's a lot of discussion about cybersecurity, it is one of the developing professions that has over 20% growth, but there is a process to it. So we always tell people to go through some kind of certification process to learn the fundamentals, the foundation, so that when you get to a particular level, you know what you're doing. So later on, you can ask me. So when Sadiq and through somebody invited me to Plateau State to talk about same thing, disruptive technology, and I went there in July, we spoke to the students. Afterwards, a lot of the students contacted me and said, how can we get access to the training? Because I spent 4 years as a professor in Maryland, and then now I'm with a British university and an Australian university. So I made a deal with them. I said, just join the WhatsApp platform, and every week when I teach my students, I record my lessons, and then I give it to them for free. So they've been doing that for the past semester. So that's what you can do. And some of the lessons are like 1 hour, but we also have like what we call micro teach series of like 3 minutes, 6 minutes. And somebody comes and says, how do I get into cybersecurity? You go and watch a 2-minute video. What is cybersecurity, or what is digital forensics? So I understand the money aspect, but I think that everybody also could try and reach individual people. And I know you're concerned about the phones. So and some of these Nigerians, they don't have access to computers, so they might not be able to do what we call the ethical hacking practice. But they have smartphones, or their friends have smartphones. So we do what we can do based on what we have. So we just teach them a little concept, and then we point them. And then we also are trying, because I was in charge of an Obama grant before I went back to Nigeria, 111 million. So like, madam, some of us have also gone back to Nigeria, but we just keep coming back and forth. So we formed our tech company in Nigeria and all that. So part of the grant was to train Americans in cybersecurity. So we're trying to emulate something like that with Nigerians, and I'm a little brother, mine's more African. So we're trying to train 1 million Africans in tech and leadership. So we will be to Rwanda and Kenya and all that this year. So what you do is you take the money, because in cybersecurity, when the certifications are expensive. Yes, like A+ exam is 249 plus 249. So we try to do is get people to help us with the grants, so we can reduce the cost of that, and then we try to get them internship. But it's a process. But if you're patient enough, you will learn Because I've met a lot of Nigerians, it's not just about money. The guys I met in the battle stage from Joshua and them, these guys are brilliant, you know? And about data, we have a training app, and we collect the data for Nigeria. Who was saying you're going to make me a millionaire? Yeah. So we have an app. Fortunately, it was designed by an Indian company, and we wanted to get the training to everybody around the world, and we collect the data. So by taking my app, you know, we're in the data state now. I'm collecting your data. That's the exchange. You do it for free, I get your data, and I turn around and sell your data by next year. And then if you come and buy me out, I can get a millionaire.
Thank you, Professor Alex. So, excuse me. So we're talking about education. That's what you talk about training. You talk about education, training. We cannot. Nigeria needs a lot of things. So education is a big component. What education means to people are different. I mean, many levels, right? Talk about cybersecurity, talking about AI, and so on. So education is our interest, and when we're looking into, it's not just adopting a school. Again, Nigeria, 70% of Nigerian population between the age of 14 and 17. That's a lot of students. Talk about the future of work, right? So how are we preparing them for the future of work? Because you need this economy on the local level to develop the economy at the local level. Just like in America, if you're not developing your micro community, micro level, then there's no you cannot reach prosperity for that particular state. So you start from the community. So it's good that we're talking about, for example, Shimawa High School is a school that we adopted. So this past summer, when we tried to train them, you know, along the line of artificial intelligence, we realized that there's no electricity, they can't charge the phone, they don't have a laptop, right? They don't have the tools. So it was going to cost us a lot of money to really rent the computers for them for artificial intelligence training, because it's not, some of these things they cannot do on the phone. So I just want to say that education is still very important. I mean, that's just, it's still the best level, right? And as we're training Nigerians along the line of cybersecurity or disruptive technology and digital assets things we've been talking about, we want to be careful that we don't, in terms of brain drain, right? Because the West continue to poach our talent, right? When you train them in Nigeria, and there's technology, there's social media, so the West has access to young people, they poach them, they pay them maybe 10% of what you pay the counterparts in the West, but that's a lot of money to people in Nigeria. So as you're training them in Nigeria, are we creating industries for them in Nigeria to again develop the economy of Nigeria, as opposed to training them so they can work remotely for people in the West? Because that's really very important. Thank you.
These are all very good comments, and I know we come from different perspectives about this. Over time, I've learned to see things more positively, even from various perspectives. We don't have to discredit other people's way of looking at things. I remember that Prof said, and I agree with what we are all saying, that light a candle and you'll help chase the darkness away. If it's torchlight you have, it's still, if it's not candle, turn on the torchlight. If it's fire, if it's a wood, if it's solar, turn it on, just to make sure that we are taking baby steps. And whatever you have, use it. So we may not come from the same perspective, our resources may not always be the same, but let's join hands, all hands on deck. Whatever will ignite the solution, let's do it. And for my example, I was just coming from Bahamas last night, I came in last night. And I was at a conference on AI and disruptive technology. Some of the biggest inventors in the world were there. And we were talking about how AI is a black box that is difficult to control. But despite that, they are still trying to harness it. Electricity was difficult to control some years back. But now, with standards, with all kinds of stuff, it's being properly managed now. It's been at least to a certain level. Some people can still go and hold high voltage. But in a way, it's being able to be well resourced. When we get our young people to do more of this AI, and for example, technology is coming now that it will translate all our languages, irrespective, and it will even translate your analog phone. You don't even have to have a digital phone.